Hello, my fellow tamers. Welcome to a Digimon trading card game video. My name is Ran B, and this one right here is titled The Top 3 Cards That New Digimon TCG Players Must Know to basically become better at the game. So, this is, in my opinion, 3 of the best cards that you're going to be seeing in several different decks. So, this is not deck-based. These are cards that you can see in multiple builds that you kind of need to be aware of that your opponent can basically beat you with, right? So as you get better, you're going to be seeing different strategies, different decks, but these cards seem to be consistently messing with a lot of new players because they just don't know how to deal with them or how to get around them, or even how to, you know, what they do. They learn as they are playing, and they end up having to deal with it in the moment, right? So to get ahead of that, we have this video. So at number 3, we have a card that you should be seeing quite a bit. It's Omnimon X in a Body from BT20, which comes with the 2.5 booster box. And this card is the secret rare that you can get from it, and it does a lot for you, but really its main point is to win the game. This card, basically, if you have it in hand and your opponent has no security, and you can play it, or Digivolve it rather, you just won the game. If you're not familiar with what it does, it digivolves from either a red or blue level 6. So you are playing against opponents that have red or blue builds, then this Omnimon can go in the deck and provide the final punch that they need. Its effects are that on play or when digivolving, you can also play it. You can pay the full 16, or if you're playing Royal Knights, you can reduce the play cost. If you have Omnimon or X in a Body in the Digimon's Digivolution cards, you can choose one of both players' Digimon and delete every other Digimon. So your opponent gets, you get to choose one of your opponent's Digimon as well as one of your own, and everything else is destroyed. And then on top of that, as an additional effect, you get to return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck after the deletion has happened, mind you. So this is in essence a board wipe. This ability wipes your opponent's board if you are able to trigger it with your either Omnimon or X Antibody. X Antibody is more common. And then on top of that, this is the real true punch is the end of your turn effect. At the end of your turn, one of your Digimon may gain Rush for the turn and then attack without suspending. You get to choose who gets to have Rush. If you have a body out there that was played and it didn't have Rush, you can do that with this effect, give it Rush, and then attack without it needing to suspend. Meaning you're just get an additional punch, almost like a blitz, for a game without the need to do the suspension that I just mentioned. And so this ends the game. So if your opponent has gotten to the level 6, for example, with something like a War Greymon and checked all of your security, and now that War Greymon is suspended, you can digivolve into this Omnimon X Antibody, and then you can trigger the ability, and if the turn has ended at that point, because you got to pay the memory, you can give yourself the Rush and the ability to attack without suspending, and attack one more time to finish up the game. So yeah, this card ends games on its own. Be aware that your opponent can have it, so you gotta be prepared for it, be able to deal with it if you see a red or blue build happening, right? All right, moving on to number 2, we have Shine Greymon Ruin Mode. This is a classic card. It digivolves from either yellow or purple level 6s, or a Shine Greymon with a cost level of 4. This card ruins lives, and it also is a card that wins if you are playing it yourself. Its ability: when digivolving or on deletion, all of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5,000 DP until the end of their turn. Mind you, this is not a once per turn ability, meaning you can digivolve and then have this Digimon get deleted and trigger it twice, essentially giving your opponent minus 10,000 to their board. And minus 10,000 DP to the board means that any applies to anything. And if a Digimon comes out of hatchery and it doesn't have more than 10,000 DP, it is dead. If you try to play a Digimon that doesn't have more than 10,000 DP, it is dead. If you don't have any abilities to keep your DP from being reduced, you're going to have minus 10,000 DP on that Digimon, and there's not much you can do about it. So hopefully you have some protection for it. It is very difficult to deal against that minus 10,000 DP, especially because a lot of Digimon want to Digivolve, and they can't do that from unless they have a weaker Digimon on the board. So this is definitely something that just full stops your opponent. It is really, really powerful, really strong ability to trigger. If you, especially if you get both of them off. Minus 5,000 by itself, it's really solid, keeping most rookies and champions from coming out. but the minus 10,000 is just gonna ruin your day, to say the least. On top of that, you also have an end of attack ability that deletes this Digimon. So it can trigger its deletion effect itself once it has attacked, and then deleted itself through this effect. And then on top of that, your opponent also gets to recover 1 if they're triggering this. And then you also can hatch if you have a tamer, right? Kind of speeding up the game for them with that hatch, but really what you're worried about is the minus 10,000 DP and the fact that it can delete itself and recover using its own abilities. It is just very powerful, very hard to deal with if you're just starting to play the game. Yeah, this is going to give you some trouble if you're not ready for it and you see it. And last but not least is a card that I feel is probably the best card in the game, and that would be Medieval Gallantmon. So this is a card that you can get in EX8 074. It is a secret from the set, and it does quite a bit for what it costs. It is a very powerful card because of its abilities and because you can bring it out for a what I would call balanced pay cost. So it is played for 11 memory or Digivolves from green or red for 3. But you'll see that when this card would be played, you can suspend 2 Digimon to reduce the cost by 4, meaning it can be played by 7 for 7 if there are 2 suspended Digimon on the board. Mind you, you can suspend your opponent's Digimon if you're playing this card, meaning your opponent can also suspend your Digimon if they are playing that card. Then they'll play this card for 7 and then get the real triggers that you want to deal with. It has Alliance and Vortex. The Vortex can trigger to attack a Digimon even though this card is just being played. But the one Digimon effect is really what you want to be worried about. You may suspend 1 Digimon. You get to choose. Then you may delete one of your opponent's 8,000 DP or lower Digimon. And then for each other suspended Digimon, you can add 3,000 to this DP deletion effect's maximum. Meaning, if your opponent has a Digimon out there and it gets suspended, you can delete something 11k. And there's more. So there are more suspended Digimon, then you get to trigger this for even more DP. Essentially meaning the bigger the board is on your opponent's side, or if on your side if they're playing that against you, the stronger Digimon you get to take down with this Medieval Gallantmon. Mind you, this is a when Digivolving effect, meaning you would have to Digivolve from your level 5. However, the second ability here, the second effect, is definitely one that really makes this card just incredible. So all turns and once per turn, when Digimon are played, meaning either your own or your opponent's, meaning once in every single turn, whether it's your opponent's or your own, you can activate one of these Digimons when Digivolving effect. And the when Digivolving effect is what? You may suspend 1 Digimon, and then you may delete your opponent's Digimon with 8,000 plus 3 for every suspended, and continue to pop Digimon as they get played. So every single turn, when this card is on the board, the opponent's Digimon that get played will get suspended and then popped by the when Digivolving effect, being triggered by the all turns effect of cards being played. Very good at crowd control if your opponent plays cards consistently, is trying to get cards out. This is just going to keep triggering, and popping. This card is really good at dealing with your opponent's boards that are trying to play bodies. The way that you get around it, well, you may have to sacrifice something because this is only a once per turn trigger, right? So something gets played, it'll get popped if it's too weak, but then you get to the second thing that you play. That might be whatever it is that you want to deal with Medieval Gallantmon. That one will not be affected by this unplay suspension effect. So you kind of might need to sacrifice something in order to get this to go in your favor. But regardless, this is what I feel is the card that you're going to see a lot in many different decks that might want to run it. And that you need to be ready to deal with, right? So this is my favorite card at the moment as well. It's just so powerful. I really like it. I really love it. I think it's really good. Now, if you are watching this video and you think there are other cards that Ricky players should need to know that are in this game, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Yeah, be safe out there. Have a good one. Peace.